Okay, so we're going to talk about root position part writing when the roots are a fourth or a fifth apart. So the roots meaning this note to the bass note. So they're both in root 5 and 1 are in root position. They're not in an inversion. So the interval between the bass notes for these two would be a, how far apart? If you went up and if you went down, it would be a part. Okay, so there's 3 different ways that you can go about part writing in root position. So the first way is using common tone and stepwise motion. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if I'm using common tone, I need to figure out, we're going to work up here first, is what these 2 chords have in common. So I know a 5 chord in C would be G, B, and D. I have that up here. And so in a 1 chord, I have C, E, and G. So I have G and G in both chords. What I'm going to do is find the G in this chord and see where I can carry it over. I know they're in root position, so I can't carry the G over here because that would be an inversion for the 1 chord. But I do see a G up in the alto, so I'm going to go ahead and put my G in here. So far, so good. The next thing is our remaining voices are going to move by stepwise motion. So if they're moving by stepwise motion, I have a D here and a B here, and we need to get to a C and an E are what we're missing. So I know for sure we need the C in the bass because this is a 1 chord in root position, and we typically like to double our root. And the most logical place for this note to go would be right from T to Do, because B is a leading tone. We have to make sure that if it's in an outer voice, it resolves upward. So that's moving by a step. And then we have our D moving up to the E. So we found our common tone, stuck that in the same part, and then we moved up by a step. So far, so good? Let's do another example. So this time we're going from 4 to 1. I'm going to do it a different way this time, so we can try and find what method works for you. I'm going to go ahead and put my bass and root in first. So I know 1 chord, we're in C again, and then this would be C, E, G. Then we have F, A, C. Who could tell me what my common tone is here? C. Where is C in the previous chord? What voice part? Tenor. And then write this in. And then I have what notes remaining to get to? E and G. What voice should I put the G in? Soprano. And then that just leaves my E to go in the alto. So in both of these examples, we found the common tone, and then we moved stepwise in the same direction. That's crucial. You have to make sure that the remaining voices are moving stepwise in the same direction. Spencer.
Why are you not concerned about the bass moving stepwise?
The bass moving, because we're in root position part writing right now, so that's just.
Okay.
It does. Yep. Okay. So here we saw our common tone in the tenor, and then these move stepwise. Cool. Okay, so this is option number 1. Option number 2 is using similar motion by a second or third. So what I do here is I'm going to find the notes in each of these chords. So we're going to work with these two bottom examples here. So I know in a 1 chord I have C, E, G. This is already given to me. In the 4 chord in C major, we have F, A, C. The first thing I need to do is put my bass note in, which I'm going to have the bass jump up to the F. So now I'm going to look at the next chord and the notes and what the most logical way to get to the second chord would be. So I have an F. I know I'm definitely going to want to double the bass slash root. Typically that's a pretty common thing is in root position, you want to double the root. So the most logical place would be to double it in the soprano. Now our 2 remaining notes, we still need to find an A and a C to go somewhere. So if I want to move it in similar motion by a second or third, I can have the E jump down to the C, and I could have the C go down to the A. So we have similar motion by a second in the soprano, and then by a third in the alto and tenor. So they're all moving in the same direction, only by a second or third. Any questions on that so far? Sydney?
So I was just wondering if it matters for the bass note what F you put it at? Like, could it be the lower F?
You could, but it'd be a lot of spacing. That's a pretty low note. I would try and stay above here. You could have that low F, but there are multiple ways to go about this. This isn't the only exact way. This is just one way. You could go to that lower F. Okay, let's do one more example this way. This time we're moving from a 5 chord to a 1 chord. So we have G, E, D, going to C, E, G. First thing I'm going to do is put in my bass note, which is C. Now what do I want to do this one? Okay, so we need to move by a second or third. Could someone give me something we could do with any of the 3 remaining parts? Spencer.
Could you have the soprano G go to an E, which would be a third?
Mm-hmm.
And then the D, I believe, in the alto line, I think, have that go to a C
Okay.
as the second. And then the B and the tenor line, you'd have that go to G.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be second and 2/3.
Yep. So none of the intervals are larger than a third, all moving in the same direction. Okay, so this is option number 2 when you're given these 2 chords. Let's